Welcome back to Mr. Mig's Classroom. I'm Mr. Mig, and today I want to talk about shooting drones over your property. Now, recently there's been a lot of talk about mysterious drones flying over New Jersey, New York, and other parts of the country. And this has brought up the question that people have asked is, can they shoot down a drone that's flying directly above their property? And people ask me this question quite often. And so I want to be very clear to y'all. The answer is a concise and definitive no. You cannot shoot down a drone over your property. If you have any friends or family members who ask you this, make sure to share them this video and let them know that no, they cannot shoot down a drone over their property. Now, I know a lot of people here aren't going to like that answer. They're going to say something like, hey, it's my property. I own the airspace over my property. And that's true. You do own the airspace over your property in most states in the United States. However, the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, controls all of the airspace in the United States, from the blades of grass all the way up to the heavens, as they put it, or all the way up to outer space. The FAA is the sole authority over airspace in the United States. And so although you own the airspace over your property, years ago, the FAA granted an easement to all aircraft. Because when you think about it realistically, let's say you have an airplane that's flying from New York to Los Angeles. It's going to fly over a lot of people's property. And it's not realistic to expect that aircraft to weave in and out to avoid flying over people's property. So what the FAA said is, fine, we just grant an easement for all airspace, for all aircrafts flying over airspace. An easement is a legal term meaning that someone has a right to use a certain part of someone else's property. So in this case, the aircrafts have a right to fly over people's property through their airspace, unless, of course, it's a designated zone, which we've talked about in other videos. But your property is probably, if it's not in one of those zones, then yeah, an aircraft can fly over your airspace. Now, when I say that to people, they often say, well, wait a second. There's a big difference between a passenger aircraft and a drone. I get your point. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to say what's right and wrong. I'm here to tell you what it is. And again, I know people don't like this, but the reality is, under the FAA regulations, drones, at least federally registered drones, FAA registered drones, are aircraft. And most drones should be registered. Any drone that's over 0.55 pound, or 0.55 pounds, so any drone over half a pound has to be registered with the FAA. And any drone, even if it's under 0.55 pounds, if it's used for the Part 107 purposes, for commercial purposes, then it has to be registered. So any commercially used drone, or any Part 107 pilot out there, you have to register your drone. So therefore, it's a federally registered aircraft, and it falls under those rules. And if you shoot down a federally registered aircraft, even if it's over your property, that's a federal law violation. You're breaking federal law, and it's a felony. And it's punishable. The penalty is something like $10,000 in fine, up to $10,000 in fine, or as they say, up to 20 years in prison. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because a lot of people have asked me, hey, can I shoot down a drone over their property? No, you cannot. It's a federal crime, and it can be severely punishable. Now, what you also have to keep in mind is different states have different rules. So that's the federal rule. The federal rule makes it illegal. But other states, different states might have penalties on top of that as well. So before you go shooting down a drone over your property, well, just don't. Don't do it. And I get it. I get you feel it's your property, and I agree with you there. It's your property, and it's your airspace, and it is your airspace. I just don't want to see you get in trouble for this, as people have. So bear that in mind. If you do have an issue with a drone flying over your property, try to take a photo of it, especially if you can get that registration number so it's proved that it's over your property. Then you can complain to the FAA, reach out to the FAA, and I'll put a link in where you can go to complain about that. Or you can also contact your local law enforcement, because it could be a privacy issue. One of the reasons the FAA doesn't want people shooting down drones on their property, beside the fact that it's a federally registered aircraft and it's protected like other aircraft, is it could be dangerous. If you shoot a drone down, then a propeller could go flying and it could hit and seriously injure somebody. So once again, thank you for watching Mr. Mig's Classroom. I'm Mr. Mig. Please like, subscribe, and share my videos. And as a little disclaimer on all the videos I do that are law-based, keep in mind I am not a lawyer. I'm in law school, but I am not a lawyer. So keep that in mind that these videos are for informative and entertainment purposes and are not legal advice. Thanks again for watching Mr. Mig's Classroom. Like, subscribe, and click that little notification button, and I'll see you next time.